1930s, 1940s. I think he retired when he was 82, in about 1962. Something like that. He was there lots of years, rowing across from the Electric Works Beach to Leland.
Easy going man, wasn't he?
Taking. He was an old sea dog apparently, and had a colourful vocabulary, shall we say, and he had a sense of humour too, and he loved to make fun of the visitors, especially if they were something different, like a vicar or something. He'd be making fun of them and winking to the locals. He wasn't being serious, really. And the kids, well, we were all frightened of Jack Cooch when he bellowed. So this is a poem that Trevor introduced me to by Jim Davy, called The Leland Ferryman, and I just put a few chords to it. The Leland ferryman was Mr. Cooch. The ferry was his trade. Rowing folks across the sea was how his living then was made. The ferry was his trade. The words he used were none too choice, the journey not that far. He'd often threatened to throw us in, to be lost out on the bar. The Leland ferryman was Mr. Cooch. Sitting still and afraid to move, we did as we were told. But even though he sounded stern, he had a heart of gold. Mother was held as she stepped ashore, to ensure she did not slip. And he brushed aside the coppers, offered in payment for the trip. The Leland ferryman was Mr. Cooch. The ferry was his trade. Rowing folks across the sea was how his living then was made. The ferry was his trade. Now sitting still and afraid to move, we did as we were told. I've done the bit. He'd say, come on you kids, get out of the boat before I throw you in. And quickly out we all would jump to save our necks and skin. He seemed quite old when we were young, maybe 40 years or more. But he kept us safe in our seats as he pulled for the other shore. The Leland ferryman was Mr. Cooch. The ferry was his trade. Rowing folks across the sea was how his living then was made. The ferry was his trade. Outdated, the ferry's no longer there. People now live different lives. Not many folks in this day and age would walk with their children to St. Ives. And yet somehow, it seems to me, we lose more than we gain. What pleasure walking through Nut Grove and waving to the train. The Leland ferryman was Mr. Cooch. The ferry was his trade. Rowing folks across the sea was how his living then was made. The ferry was his trade. Why not walk to the headland on the weir and turn towards the land? Recall those days when you were young, those days were heaven sent. You might well hear the sound of oars if you listen with great care. But it's no good shouting, Mr. Cooch! Thank you, Trevor. I'd like to sing a Mike O'Connor song. Mike O'Connor lives up Weybridge Way, so he's written a number of very good songs, and this one is called Shining Down on Sennan. In Wallaroo. No. It was in Wallaroo. I'm still singing the Ferryman in my head. I've got to get that Ferryman tune out and get the. So. In Wallaroo it's mighty fine, in winter and in evening, and they remind me of the time when first I was a streamer, and when at night my eyelids close, my mind too far places goes. The Southern Cross, its soft light glows, shining down on Sennan. Underground, it's much the same as crofty or Selegan. The dark, the dust, the flickering flame, it could just be 11. We hear the same old songs again, the tunes, the tales, the family names, the stars uniting every flame, shining down on Sennan. Now Christmas is the bravest time. We'll drink a pint of tawny and fill a gin. We'll leave the mine when we sing Trelawney. We've sung that song the world around, where tin and copper may be found. The stars will hear that very sound, shining down on Sennan. And all the mines have closed their gates, or so says last year's letter. And Redruth Town is no great chase, a fool is not much better. But in my mind I see them still, forever climbing Camborne Hill. The stars above the gaslights will be shining down on Sennan. South Australia's been real good to cousins Jack and Jenny, and many a Cornish man will say he's made a pretty penny. But Jackie this and Jackie that, this cousin Jack would eat his hat to see the stars at evening that are shining down on sun. To see the stars that even yet are shining